Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with wonderful Kristine Kieland from US. She's an energy healer, empath, and psychic. So, what is true love, Kristine? Please tell us.
Well, there's the definition of true love, like humans think of it, right? That you find your person and there's no interference and they understand everything about you and they, kind of sweep you off your feet or true love because you're parent and child. But true love from like a soul level, from your highest self level, true love is acceptance of everything that person is experiencing as neither right or wrong. True love has no expectations, no limitations, and no division. So that's something we're all working on. Wherever you're at, we're all working on that to varying degrees. But as people, we think the more you love somebody, the more you should want something for them. The more you should have, the more we have expectations, and it's natural to have expectations. Like for a parent, want to have expectations of being happy or being, a certain way, but that's interfering with what their desire is, right? So it's a really fine line to understand what love is. And it's not only just a feeling, but it's a frequency and a vibration.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
So, how is it like different for a human person or for a soul? Is it different for?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So as you know, we're multidimensional and we're really just expanded energy, but in our human minds, we kind of layer it out. So the soul has the ability, and really just the source energy of the soul has the ability to truly love all in all ways, in all expressions, in whatever form you're in. But that's really an expanded consciousness, and we have a hard time doing that. For instance, if somebody caused great harm to your loved one, it'd be very hard for you to say, I love someone who murdered my child, or I love like this. Our highest self does do that because it just loves the source energy. This is an expression of source. But we do have the ability, we actually do have the ability to do that. It's just something we're kind of remembering how to do, something that it's not that we're practicing, it's hard work. It's just hard work, right? And the greatest challenge we have is to love ourselves. So the soul absolutely knows that I am pure love and I absolutely love myself. But the individual is working on that. So I would direct people to look at self-love first. And when you can go and totally love yourself through every misstep, through every mistake, that you have no judgments against yourself, you have no criticisms against yourself, that you can just purely love the body, the soul, the experiences, right? That is truly love. That is mastery of love, when you totally love yourself, because when you have those incriminating thoughts against yourself, and it can even be just a blip, right? Anything less than love for yourself, it very easily transfers to someone else and it multiplies to someone else, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So all the judgments we have against ourselves, we hold against someone else.
True, so true, and that really makes sense. So a lot of people think that caring and just keep loving or doing things for someone or having respect for someone is love. So
yeah, or worry. I'm so worried about you, right? I worry. You need to call me. You need to make sure you're not safe. That's kind of a stereotypical definition of love. I'm jealous or I worry about you. That's not love. That's fear. And that's the opposite end of the spectrum. And so some people also think passionate, right? So some people love so dearly, but if you cross them, I'm going to hate you. Right?
Yeah.
That's a very limited definition of love, but it's expression of self. So you can't say it's wrong. That's just something they're working through. They're expressing a part of themselves that they don't understand, a part of themselves that they don't feel completely loved within their own. So it extends to the exterior world.
Okay. And is it like there's a karmic cycle attached to it, or karma involved, as we in our Hindu practices also in India we talk about that, from one birth to the other, or one reincarnation to the other, you will pass on some of your soul's learning, or what does love on?
Because the reincarnation cycle becomes the DNA, becomes your cellular memory. So we're getting more into space, more conscious, where we can actually live in the moment, where past doesn't have to define. But yes, things are carried over. Things become, if they're not understood, you don't have a full understanding of the experience. If you don't take responsibility for the experience, you have the tendency and the ability, and it does get carried over. The preferred way is to just, in the moment, I'm going to understand what I'm creating, what's coming to me, or what I'm giving out, what's coming to me, and then complete the cycle, so it doesn't go into a karmic loop.
Okay.
And we have the ability now to just totally end karma. Like it's almost like stop. No. If I'm creating something less than love, I'm going to recognize it. I'm going to be aware of it. So it's all about awareness right now. I'm so aware, right? And then go ahead.
Just wanted to understand more about this karmic cycle. Like, do we know that this is the correct person, and now I'm doing what I'm doing is correct, and I'm loving this person correctly, so that karmic cycle has now ended, or I need to find my true soulmate?
Yeah. Well, sometimes the karmic cycle is a little skewed, maybe. So you may have a karmic cycle where I was married to this person, right? And then you forget that marriage was only for this 60 or 70 years, right? So we feel like we get into these soul contracts and soul agreements, and they're forever. They're not. They're for that moment of time. So then you meet somebody and you're drawn to them, and it could be good or bad, but you're drawn to them. It's like, oh, I know you. I recognize you. It may not even be the right person for you, or someone that actually ignites you and you're in alignment with, but because you have that cellular memory, there's that attraction. That's sometimes how you can get into relationships that are the best for you, or you're trying to finish something. So again, it's being aware of what happened, why it happened, and now I have free choice and free will. It does not need to be carried over. Contracts are not meant to be for eternity, even though I know that's a very romantic concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's for in the moment. And your soulmates, my knowledge and my knowing of soulmates is we have many, many soulmates. We have a soul family.
Okay.
So romantic notion of you are my one and only, yes, that could be how you've set that up in your blueprint and in your your blueprint for coming into this life experience. But your soulmate is also your children, your husband. You and I are soulmates. It's not a romantic soulmate, but we are in alignment. We understand each other. We have a vibrational field that matches, right?
Yeah.
So, it's think of it this, keep expanding everything you know about love and soul connection. It is much greater than we think, and it is more all-encompassing. Right? And I think that causes people a lot of heartache sometimes, that they feel like there's one person, there's one soulmate, and I'm not meeting them, that there's something wrong with me. It's because you're maybe too attached to the vibration or to the idea that there has to be the perfect person.
Yeah. Okay. And few people, they don't get married. They keep searching for that particular right person in their life.
Yeah.
It's really difficult for some people to understand that not everybody can be so perfect, and
right. And I've had a lot of clients who, if you look at their energy field, one of the concepts they want to understand and express this lifetime is separation. So separation from self, separation from others. And they're like, I keep searching for the person. I get so close, and then something happens, we break up, or I've been told over and over, my soulmate's coming. And if you go a little bit further into the energy field, you'll see okay, this is concept you want to understand. You know everything you need to know about separation of self and separation from others. Once we get them to that point and they understand, it's like, oh, you know what? I do have this. I could write 12 volumes on what it is to be separate. Just like that, the person comes into their life. Because it's like, done. I'm done with that concept. I may have done it for the last 7 lifetimes, for the last 700 lifetimes, but this lifetime, I understand separation. Now I want to know what inclusion and love and to be cherished and honored. So it really is being consciously aware of what it is you're experiencing, what the pattern is, and how I'm going to break the pattern.
Okay, great. So what does, love at various, like we've heard about 7 dimensions and 7 chakras and 7 densities, but I've even heard about 22 chakras and 16 dimensions. So what exactly is true and correct? Can you elaborate on the soul?
So we make it really simple for us. We call 7 chakras. We have 7 main energy bodies, but like right now I see about 142 chakras, energy systems. There's very small ones in the body. They're in the groin. They're in the armpits. They're basically all over because we're physical beings that need to get as much of our source energy into the body. But we do have the 7 main ones that, I actually call, I normally say there's 12 main ones inside and outside the body. Because there's chakras like, I don't know if you can see where my hands are, but they're about 8 feet above your head too.
Okay.
8 feet below.
Okay.
They're outside your field. They're again, don't think in limits. Think of more than that, right? So the body needs that. But those are the main ones that we work with. And again, those are expanding and shifting and changing as the human body does. I'm going to be doing a course on that coming up in September. I don't have the date set yet, but I will get that out ASAP as soon as I can find. It'll be an 8-week course, so as soon as I can find that chunk of time, we'll get that scheduled. And then the dimensions, same things. We typically were working with 13 dimensions. There's much more than that. So when this planetary system was developed, we had 7, maybe you've heard of the Pleiadians or the 7 sisters. We had 7 suns within this planetary system. We just shifted this year, now we have 13 suns. So it will increase our ability to be aware of more dimensional fields. Like if you've noticed, I think it was maybe around March or April, I don't quite remember, the sun changed from being kind of a golden sun to a very white sun now. I don't know if you've noticed that yet or not, or pay attention to that, and you can actually see it, the atmosphere is just looking very different. So, and again, we talk in dimensions, almost like cake layers, but it's really just expanded consciousness and expanded awareness. The lower, what we call lower dimensions, you might say the abilities are less. The telepathic abilities are left, the healing abilities left. We're not in the quantum field. You start getting 5, 6, 7th dimension and above is more quantum field.
Okay.
7th dimensions, you can find like the angelic realm. It's easier for them to take physical form. And again, nothing's set in stone. So you can be a 12th, 13th dimensional being, drop down into a lower dimensional field and take a physical form. It just doesn't happen as often. And we need to understand too that we are a multi-dimensional, and we have aspects of ourselves at a higher dimensional field too, if that makes sense.
It does. When you say there are 13 suns, planet Earth has 13 suns, you say?
Our galaxy, our
Okay.
solar system, and our solar system's not as, again, it's not as limited as we see. Like years ago, I used to see 13 solar systems, and I'm not a scientist by any means, so this is just my limited way of saying I see a galaxy, I see a solar system. There are you can't even count how many universes there are, right?
Right.
But I want to say kind of for our pea brain, our human brain, which we only are able to access, a dropper full of our capability. And it's more than just our intelligence, it's our wisdom.
Okay.
So you are going to see so many tremendous shifts and changes as we are able to access the consciousness and the abilities that come with being our higher conscious being. And a lot of it's going to be telepathy.
Okay.
That's going to be one of the first things we're going to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people are seeing these ascension changes, as you're saying, right? Already. Yeah, that's wonderful to know. But is there any specific time period or timeline when most people will be accustomed to that?
It's an individual, like each person has to do it themselves. It's not like a big wave together. But my sense is over the next 5 years, most people will be making a tremendous shift.
Wow. Wow.
So some are already there. They already understand the world as complete wholeness, and they truly see everything through the eyes of love. They don't go into too much of what many of us are experiencing, looking at all the stuff that's not working right now. And there's a lot of stuff that's not working, every single system, right, throughout our planet. I can't say it's not working. We're just not having it work in that way where we cause harm to one another and we're unaware of each other. So it worked for a time period. What would that experience be? We're done with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
As more people become aware of that, as they allow the physical body to shift. So a lot of it's detoxing the body, being aware of your thoughts, because that creates the next event for you, right?
Okay.
So yeah, over this next 6 months is going to be tremendous upheaval. And within that upheaval is the ability, like it's shaking out all the dense energy again. So it's not a fearful thing, but it's just an awareness that it's really up to us to stay centered and to know what's triggering us and then work through that. So that we're not participating in the chaos. We're out of the chaos.
Yeah. We all need to stay strong and happy and positive.
Right. And then acknowledge, no, today's not a happy day. Today's not positive. Why is that? Is this a pattern I'm repeating? Is this something that serves me? Really simple example. When I was a little girl, we watched TV a lot. It was kind of it was our family time, it was relaxation, it was how we connected as a family. But what I realized was that allowed us to connect without talking. And the reason we didn't want to talk, because there's a lot of unrest, a lot of uncomfortable things that happen within the family. So if we had to talk about it, that would have been better, because we would have gone right into the pain, would have stayed in that moment, you would have healed it. And then it became a pattern to my adulthood, and I thought, well, this isn't how I want to relate to the family, that I married and gave children to. But I had to recognize it first before I could break the pattern. And sometimes it's an easy pattern for me to go into.
Okay.
So yeah, just a small example. Yeah.
So, with this dimension level, is it that love has an important role to play for self and for others? Like how much we care for others, does that matter? Or it's like
yes, it does. It's such a good question. And the more you get into that expanded consciousness, fifth, sixth, seventh dimensional, if you want to keep two-dimensional, it gets easier. It gets easier because the illusion of division starts to leave. The illusion that we don't love ourselves or know ourselves leaves. The illusion of someone else, it's really the illusion of not seeing someone as they really truly are. Think of when you hold your baby for that very first time and you see everything perfect, right?
Yeah.
When you talk to parents who have a baby who, what society would maybe say isn't perfect, those parents still see that, right?
Yeah.
Or the first time you fall in love with somebody, you see their perfection, right? Yeah.
So I definitely see, like children who are autistic or who are handicapped. For them, life is so difficult, and especially finding a partner for love.
Yeah.
Bless all of them. It's so difficult for all of them.
And nobody's ever in a body that they didn't choose.
Okay. Yeah.
It serves a purpose for the soul's understanding of what a human life is.
Yeah.
And a lot of the autistic kids, they're teaching us a new way to communicate. They're not communicating with language. And they're singularly focused, right? Some of them are so singularly focused. They're teaching us attention to self. So again, you don't look at things as it appears. You go a little deeper and say, what is real? What's the value here?
Oh.
What's the value, right?
Self.
So again, it may be, yeah. So we go into the human part, we feel bad for people, right? Or we feel, oh my gosh, that's sad or that's tragic. It's not that there's not that there's difficulties, right, in the human mind and the human body, but there's never, the souls aren't, things don't happen to us. We are part of that creative force. Even the really, really worst things on some level, and that's where you get into the dimensional field, right? And the more lives you have and the more karma you build up, the more misunderstandings there's. That's where we really got into misunderstanding each other and causing harm, because it's like the wires all got crossed. And it got so confusing, you couldn't find the love. But it's always there.
Okay.
It's always there. Yeah.
So any last questions, general message for everyone, all of our viewers, you would like to give any general message?
Yeah, and it's just to hold the knowing. It's really just hold the knowing. I'm just looking at your country and specifically, but everybody. It's like hold the knowing within your heart space that you signed up for this experience, that you're here in this moment in time, in this body, for this shift. This is such a tremendous shift in consciousness that we haven't done in 20, 25,000, 26,000 years. And you are one of the great, you're one of the great participants. We are all the great participants in bringing change and bringing love to this planet in every single way. So being human can be hard, but understand that it's nothing's impossible. We have tons and tons of support. Most people think they have, 1 or 2 guides or 12 angels or light beings. Honestly, when I look at a person, I see 3,000 to 4,000 helpers with them for each individual.
Wow.
And that's increased over the last 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
So there's nothing that you cannot understand, but it's going into what is the value of this experience? Why is this person showing up in my life the way it is? That love is always available. Some people find love with animals first because that's more comfortable. That's kind of a teaching ground for them. So for those looking for true love or looking for their soulmate or looking for more love, find it everywhere. Maybe find the great friendship, right? Maybe that's easier for you. And you have the love of friendship. Next thing you know, it's really easy because that vibration of love is opened up, and that's when your partner shows up, if that's what you want to experience, this life experience. So think in terms of all is okay, and there's always more. And then you get to decide what you want more of. More chaos, or more all-encompassing love, and peace within, and peace without.
Okay. Thank you so much for such a beautiful message.
Yeah.
It was
Thank you,
wonderful
sweetie.
talking to you.
Always wonderful to be with you.
Thank you.
I so appreciate it.